This is a red alert. They have announced their plans, and we now know who is attacking America, who is causing all of these warehouse fires, who is causing all of these train derailments, who is behind all of this. We are now finding out because they are coming out and they are essentially telling us this is part of their plan and this is what they want to happen. And we should have known all along this is who was behind it. But now we have confirmation, and there's so many suspicious things happening that something big has to be going on. And even just today, we had 3 more train derailments, and we are seeing who is behind the curtain. All right. People are coming out and they are kind of revealing themselves. They're kind of showing their hand, and we need to be ready because they are going to implement even more derailments, even more disasters, even more ecological disasters, economic disasters, banking crisis, world wars. All of these things are interconnected, and they are all being implemented and pushed by the same people and the same groups. All right, so we're going to break down all this today, and it's very suspicious and it's very concerning because these groups have our country captured, and they are almost above the governments, and the governments even help them out. All right, the government, it's one and the same. All right, they scratch their back and they scratch their back. All right, so let's get into what's happening here with these derailments, and then we will get into the very suspicious statements that have been made pointing to who is potentially in charge of these derailments, because something big is happening, and it's all connected to the banks collapsing. It's connected to the supply chain issues. It's connected to the war. It's all interconnected, and we're going to break it all down. But let's get into these 3 derailments that happened today as well. So a train derailment in Brown County spills thousands of pounds of gravel. All right, this happened just today. We had another one, a boxcar derailment blocking traffic in Lindale Avenue in Bloomington. And then we had another one today that was actually kind of devastating for this town. They have recovered. They are cleaning it up, but it caused a massive fire in this town from this train derailment. And thankfully, there was a swift reaction and they were able to clean it up. But there was also a massive derailment in Minnesota. So 3 different derailments have happened just today. And who is doing this? Who benefits from this? And we're finding out who benefits from this. There's groups that want to push this agenda, and they are now coming out and even admitting that this is their plan. And it all makes sense when we break down all the documents and everything as well. And the thing with these derailments is the government is never going to tell you that it's dangerous, all right? They might warn you initially right away, but there's always going to be a cover up. Even the CDC is covering up their own workers getting sick from this Ohio train derailment. We're just now finding out last week that they have been getting sick, and they are studying the impacts of the illness from the CDC workers that went to East Palestine, Ohio, and are working to clean up this train derailment. So even their own workers are getting sick. When are we going to get to a point where people working doing this, they're going to defect and say, hey, this is way worse than they're saying? I just don't even understand. Why are you risking your life? You're getting sick and you're helping them cover this up. For what? For what? They're just allowing you to get sick. They're not even giving you proper protection or keeping you safe in these situations, in these environments. You're still getting sick. Why are you covering up this situation? I really don't understand. And there were even scientists coming out and saying that a lot of the reasons why these chemicals, these VOCs, haven't showed up in the aquifer and the well water yet, because it takes a very long time for these chemicals to percolate through the soil, and it takes potentially years to percolate all the way down and to fully percolate all of these chemicals into the aquifer. So this could just be a constant slow percolation release. Just think of your coffee dripping, and every time it drips, it's just dripping some chemicals into the water supply. And that's essentially what we're going to be working with for years. And they aren't going to test this for years. They're just going to say, hey, it's fine. It's good enough now, and you're safe. But even their own people are getting sick. And this just goes to show that they will cover up these events. And who is behind this? All right, there's a reason I'm bringing up all this, because there is an agenda to poison America's water, poison America's farmland, and they want to take it over. And there are groups that want to take over this land, and they are now even coming out and saying that they want the government to blatantly just steal land from people for projects. All right. And we can assume who this is. It is the Banksters. All right. The Banksters are now coming out and saying that they want the government to steal property to build wind and solar farms. So all of these train derailments keep happening. All of these toxic chemicals keep spilling into our waterways. We had a radioactive waste dump in Minnesota just a couple weeks ago, and it dumped into the Mississippi River that starts all the way up in Minnesota. And it dumped radioactive water, and they didn't even tell anyone for months, and it was just flowing into the Mississippi River. Who's doing all this? Who's doing this? And now we have a bankster coming out saying, hey, we want the government to seize people's land so we can build these wind farms and these solar farms. Is this who's doing it? Because look at this as well, all right? JP Morgan and Norfolk Southern have a close coordination. They speak at each other's events, speak at each other's conferences. Norfolk Southern is a transportation company, and they're speaking and coordinating with JP Morgan, all right? Speaking at their events, and there is coordination here, open coordination. And now we see Norfolk Southern, all of these trains start derailing in farmland and poisoning the land, poisoning the water. Think of all these fish that died. It was like 40,000 fish that died. All these people's animals that died. All these people that are getting sick, even in the CDC are admitting their own people are getting sick. They're poisoning the land, and it's perfect. Now the banksters can come in and say, hey, let's just seize this land anyways. It's toxic, all right? It's not livable. No one should be living here. It's bad for them to live here. And let's just put whatever we want on here. Put a solar farm on here or wind farm so they can just make even more money, all right? We are finally seeing who's behind all this stuff, and it's the banksters. They're causing these supply chain issues. They're causing these derailments. They're causing this banking collapse. They are pushing us closer to war every single day, because this is what they do all throughout history. They run their Ponzi schemes, and when their schemes start being exposed and there's banking crisis, they start causing all of these other events to distract us, and so we don't see it. All right, we don't see the actual banking collapse. We're worried about all these derailments, which are real too, and we're worried about a massive war happening, which is real too, and people just put the banking on the back burner. All right, people are worried they're going to die. People are worried they're going to be poisoned. It's a little bit more urgent and important than inflation and hyperinflation and them continuing their Ponzi scheme, all right? Them getting arrested for their Ponzi scheme. We'll get to more of that in just a second. But this is what they do when they start getting caught. When the banking systems start collapsing, there's always a massive war. There's always a bunch of catastrophes that happen. And is this what is happening right now? Are they now coming out and saying, hey, all this land has been poisoned. All this land is non-livable now. Maybe we should just seize the property. And this is opening up to just seize everyone's property as well. And why is a banker pushing this? Why is JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon pushing this? And by the way, JP Morgan has a lot bigger issues than just this. All right, I'm not going to talk too much about this. I talked about this last week a little bit, but it gets even worse. All right, now they're even joking about things that are happening here. Look at this article here if you're just listening. Just look at the screen for a second. This is what JP Morgan's really dealing with. This is what I'm saying. Their scheme is getting caught. They've been caught. Everyone's onto them. Everyone's onto the bankers. Everyone knows they're trying to implement a central digital currency, and then even further than that, trying to implement carbon credits and a credit token system worldwide. And they're getting caught. Everyone knows what they're doing. Their plan's been exposed. And so they have to double down. They have to do more extreme things. And it seems like that's what they're doing, and we're getting closer to war every single day too. And they're getting caught, all right? Virgin Islands is trying to pursue this, and this is a U.S. territory as well. So they could be in massive legal trouble. But instead, he's scheming how to steal land from you to build his massive wind or solar farms. All right. Absolute scam, absolute joke. And this could be why we're seeing all these derailments. All right. It's not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. And people say, oh, these derailments have happened before. Then why are they happening? We just had a massive infrastructure bill. What happened to this Build Back Better bill that just passed last year? It was supposed to be a massive infrastructure bill, and there's been no spending on actual infrastructure that I've seen at all. Because if there was, it would be breaking news that some building got built, some highway got built, some whatever. It would be breaking news, and it's not happening. We're not seeing our railways be replaced, and I know that a lot of times it's up to the private companies as well. But with all this money we're spending, there should be money there for domestic projects, and it seems like it's never anything domestically. We have this infinite money printing, but nothing ever gets built, nothing ever gets better, and we never really get any real benefits. We just get more inflation and more empty shelves. That's all I'm seeing from all of this money printing the past few years. All right, I'm not sure where this money even went. It's like it evaporated. And you know where it went? You know where it actually went? It went here. It went to the banks. It went to the mega corporations. That's where it went. And they had stock buybacks, and they inflated their stock, and they made a ton of money, and they got to shut down all the mom and pops. That's where the money went. All right, we know where it went, and it didn't go to you. That's why nothing has improved. All right, and they're trying to make their move again. And we're going to even see debanking in the future as well. JP Morgan also debanked Kanye West last year. All right, this happened, and he had millions, tens of millions of dollars in this bank, and they just decided one day, hey, you're not allowed to be a part of this bank. And he had trouble accessing his accounts for weeks, trying to get the money transferred to a new bank. So this could happen at any moment. Anytime these banks could come out and clamp down. They already control the monetary system, and now they're trying to control the land as well too, because they know that the money that they have in their bank is becoming completely worthless through all of this inflation and money printing that has been engineered. They know it's becoming worthless, so they want to have the land, they want to have the assets, and they're coming for them soon. And something is seriously wrong in our country. All right, I made this meme on Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter if you don't follow me on Twitter. I'm trying to get to 2,000 followers. Get it to 2,000 for me, guys. Thank you so much for doing that. Go over there right now. It's free, and you never know what could happen to me on YouTube, all right? But I made this meme on Twitter yesterday. Something's seriously wrong with our country, guys. Something's messed up. These bankers, they run everything. They control everything. And I just wanted to have a contrast here, how a former president, Trump, can be processed, arrested, can potentially sit in jail for decades, all right? They're saying 136 years is potentially a sentence, okay? But what about these bankers? These people blatantly blew your money. They blatantly gave your money away, spent it on BS. These banks were making SVB and Signature Bank in New York that got shut down as well. They were making like music videos and stuff. I've seen music videos of them on Twitter, and they're like dancing around. It's like a Katy Perry knockoff. They're singing like a Katy Perry song, all right, and have like a music video with all the people in their office. This is what they're spending their time and money on, and these people lost billions and billions and billions of dollars, and nothing. They just get more money. They get even more money. They get bailed out and create even more inflation because our government has to create even more money out of thin air, essentially, create even more inflation and potentially even run us into the same problem again. Because more inflation, they might have to raise interest rates. It might restrict the monetary flow even more. And then it could incentivize these bankers to be even more corrupt and take even more risk because they took this massive risk. They lost all this money, and then they just got bailed out. They just got more money from the government. They didn't even get in trouble. Certain countries, when this happens, when the bankers fail and the bank goes under, this is what they do. They arrest the bankers. They send them to jail, and there's a much higher standard for the bankers, and it makes sense. These people are fiduciaries. They're responsible for your money, right? They're supposed to be watching over your money. They have say over your money. They can literally take your money and lend it to other people and use it as collateral. These people should have a very high moral standard, business standard, economic standard. Their standard should be very high, and it's completely low. It's completely in the tanks. Garbage. Their standards are garbage. Look at this guy. Look at this. These are their standards. This is who these people are. These are sick, twisted individuals, and it's really just been hitting me. I mean, I've always known this, that people like the Rothschilds, these multi-generational banking families are who really control the systems. And Klaus Schwab is like one of their little puppets that they have out there. He's like one of their little front men, one of their spokesperson, all right? Because you don't really see the Rothschilds family, all right? You don't really see them there behind the scenes, but they have a lot of spokespeople, and this is who we're dealing with. We're dealing with sick freaks and bad people, evil people. Who jokes about this? How do you joke about this? And it's insane. Absolutely insane. This is who we're dealing with right now, and this is why this is happening, because they control everything, and they have people blackmailed too. All these people are blackmailed, right? That's why they don't say anything. Everyone's like, how? It's impossible that all these people are in on this and they are all in this big club. It's impossible, even though they go to the World Economic Forum and they go to the World Government Summit. Some people just can't process it and realize why they would all stick together through these very evil and devastating things. This is why. They are blackmailed. They are blackmailed individuals, and they can't say anything, or this stuff will come out. Even worse stuff 1,000 times worse than this joke here will come out about them. That's why they can't do this. They're blackmailed individuals, all right? So that's why we're seeing stuff like this. That's why we have a two-tiered justice system, because some people are above the law. Some people are in this blackmail club, all right? And if you're in this club, you do not get in trouble, and you are allowed to push the limits and implement this agenda because you are part of the collapse, all right, and part of implementing this new world order, all right? And the bankers are also pushing us closer to war every single day, all right? We have Finland now becomes the 31st member of NATO, and this is a massive border that is shared with Russia. I was in shock when I heard this. I was like, I knew exactly where Finland was. I knew it shared a border, but I went and looked on the map to double check and to see how big this border was and to just really process it. And this is huge that this happened. All right, this is a bigger border potentially than Ukraine has with Russia. And now there's a NATO country on the border of Russia. And it's just one step closer to a massive nuclear war. Where's anyone just saying, we need peace, we don't want a nuclear war, we don't want to die, we don't want to have our young men going over there? Like, there's nobody saying this. Who in our government is saying this? Saying, at all costs, let's not have a nuclear war. At all costs, let's not send more of our young men over there. At all costs, let's have peace. What can we do right now? This needs to stop now. No, we get all these generals, we get all these people saying, this is going to last for years, this is going to go on for years, this is going to get worse, we need to double down, we need to send more, we need to do more, we need to do all this. There's no peace, all right? It's just more war. And who wins these wars? It's the bankers. They fund both sides. They've done this all throughout histories. And a lot of times, wars aren't really what we think they're about, like on the surface level. A lot of times they are about currencies. They are about banks. Think about what's happened the past few years, these sanctions that have been implemented, the SWIFT system, the international transfer banking system has been essentially neutered. Nobody uses it anymore because we blocked all these countries from accessing SWIFT. So they created their own networks, and now they don't need it anymore. We are in a currency war as well. A lot of times massive wars are started over economic power, currency power, reserve power. This is what also drives wars, and the banksters are driving us straight into World War III right now. All right, there's politicians, all right, and they're just actors on a stage. Everyone we see on both sides, they're really just, a lot of them are just on the same side. 99% of them, they act like, oh, we're fighting each other. They're really just, but at the end of the day, they both agree to pass the National Defense Authorization Act every single year. They both agree to the national security state. They both agree to massive wars. They both agree to destroying our economy with money printing. They both agree to all these different things. There's only like 0.1% of actual politicians or state actors that aren't just playing the game, playing the Hegelian dialect, all right, where there's just two sides acting like, but above it, above the two sides, all right, just two sides of the same bird, two wings of the same bird, left wing, right wing, it's the same bird at the end of the day. And there are bankers on top that are pulling the strings and engineering it and causing all this conflict, causing all this division, causing people to fight with each other while they just implement all this dystopian agenda right in our faces, all right? People are so busy just fighting over, and I get it. I see all this stuff going on too. I get upset about what's going on too. I see everything you guys are seeing. But I purposely don't want to cover certain things because I don't want to agitate people. I don't want to divide people. I want people to be focused on the real problem and the real evil, and that is these organizations that are above government, that are pulling the strings, all right? Like the WEF, like the WHO, like the International Monetary Fund. All of these groups are pulling the strings. These globalist government groups, they're the ones implementing these agendas, and that's who we need to be focused on, all right? Because they pull the strings on both sides, and that's what bankers have done all throughout history. So you guys need to get prepared. You guys need to get out the cities, all right? Next month, we are going to be completely off-grid. We are going to be building up our off-grid homestead. I'm going to be showing you guys all the stuff I'm doing. I'm still going to be keeping you guys in on the news every single day, but I'll be showing you guys what's going on my off-grid homestead because it's getting bad, guys. I can feel it. I have a very high sense of urgency right now. I've been in a very just like almost just stressed out, anxious state for the past few months because I'm really feeling it. It's happening, guys. They are doing it, and I don't feel safe enough. All right, I'm in a house and all this stuff, but it's like I don't feel safe enough in my location. I feel like if it hits the fan, I will not be safe here as safe as I want to be. All right, so I want to be completely off grid. I want to be even further away. I want to be even less, nothing, not attached to the grid at all. Solar, septic, well, we're going to build our own tiny home, all this stuff. We're going to be living in an RV for a little bit. Then we're going to build our own tiny home. We're going to have gardens going, chickens, goats, all this stuff, right? Because it's time. It's time to do it. If you're on the fence about anything, you need to do it now. I was on the fence for a few months. I was like, should we do this? What should we do? It's really getting to me. It's really stressing me out. Me and my wife, we've just been trying to figure out what are we going to do. Like this stuff's getting serious, all right? Because my wife sees all this stuff too. She feels it too. She knows what's going on too. And we are worried. We want to have a better situation. This is the time to activate your plans, all right? You don't need to 100% bug out yet or anything like that, but you need to be heightened awareness. You need to have discernment. You need to see. You need to just cut right through to what's really going on. What are they really doing? What are they planning? And everyone can see it's something big, something bad. They're heading us towards some kind of massive collapse, and you don't want to be unprepared. All right, there's so many little things I'm like, if it happens, I'm going to be worried about this. I'm going to be worried about that. Like, there's so many little things that I want to have taken care of, and I'm really just starting to tackle them now because time is running out. Time is the timer's dinging on the oven. The turkey's burning. All right, the turkey is starting to burn. It's starting to smell. Everyone's like, what's that smell? Starting to stink up the house. All right, starting to smoke up a little, and it's about to catch on fire. It's about to burst in the flames and catch the whole kitchen on fire. All right, that's what we're happening right now. It's smoking. It's all black and crispy, and everyone's like, what's that smell? It smells kind of like smoke in here. What's going on here? All right, that's the spot we're in right now. It's about to spontaneously combust, burst into flames, the turkey, and burn down the whole kitchen. All right, that's what we're on, and I want to get out the kitchen before it bursts into flames. All right, so you guys get prepared. I am really feeling it lately, and I'm sure you guys are too. And this is your warning sign. This is your sign. All right, this happens all throughout life. All the times you get, this happens to me all the time. I'll just hear something so little, so random from somebody, and it's just like it just resonates with me. It's like, wait a minute, I was kind of thinking that too. I was thinking that exact thing. I had that exact feeling. And when you just hear someone else say it, it just hits you, it resonates, and sometimes it's just the one thing. It's the little spark that you need to be like, all right, this is real. I need to get motivated. They are feeling the same way I'm feeling. Maybe their situation's a little bit different, but they are having the same awareness, and I need to act. So act now. Get prepared now, guys. Thank you so much. Smash that like button now. Smash that sub now, too. Thank you guys so much for watching me, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.